Hello everyone, my name is Clinton from Mobitech Media. Now today we'll be talking about API referencing. API referencing is a type of referencing, though it's not the only type, but it's the most common type that is used in the writing industry. Now there are two parts to it, which is an in-text part and a post-text part. In the in-text part we have direct quotation, or rather we have two choices. And the first choice is direct quotation, which is author's exact words. Indirect quotation means we are taking, or you are taking part of what the author wrote exactly and putting them in. But do not you overuse this. I'll come back to that in a moment. Here's an example from authors called Jones and Wills. As you can see, Jones and Wills, that and all that. So let me remove this first. I'll come back to this in a moment. Let me just put a bracket here and also get rid of this. I'll talk about it later. All right. So we have Jones and Wills and everything that they said. And we'll come back here and put, let me talk about that in a moment. All right, here we can see that the quotation is delineated by the usage of quotation marks. The quotation marks that I've highlighted over here. I don't know if that's clear, but I think you can see that. We also have the authors and the year of publication referred to this in the sentence. And because it's a direct quote, we have to acknowledge the page that it came from. That's how I've acknowledged the page over here. Okay. And yes, I know you're wondering whether you can separate that information, or you could have just held the page up with the E in the brackets. That's possible. You can separate the information, and you can also have the page up here. So like you said, the first thing that you remove this one here. So that means when you put the page up here, that means you won't have to put it at the end of the sentence. Okay. Now the second choice to the in-text is paraphrasing or summarizing, or rather you can call it indirect quoting. So what this means is you present the idea in your own words, though you still need to cite it. Still need to cite where it came from. So most importantly, you still need to give the citation. So here's the same information. From the author's example that I used up there. So here's the same information, moving from a direct quote to a paraphrase. And this time we have Jones and Wills in brackets. But the main part of the citation is in your own words. Now, what that represents is you processing text and processing information. As you can see, initially, this is exactly what Jones and Wills said in the book, which is, for teachers, the policy is clear and unmistakable in its intent. So, because we don't want to use the direct words that they used in the book, so we take this and absorb it after understanding what it means, and then the message. What message are they trying to pass through? The message they're trying to pass through is that the important point for educators is that there is clarity in the intention of the policy. So because this is not our idea, this is someone else's idea, we have to cite where the idea came from. In as much as we've written it in our own words, but we still have to cite where the idea came from. And because we are writing it in our own words, we don't need to include the page number. It's now not necessary. Okay? So that's why paraphrasing is always more preferred to direct quoting. And again, as the example shows here, we want to have that personal response. That second part And this is significant because, and you move on to say what that is. Okay? Well, you'll notice two different ways of acknowledging authorship. In the first one, we have Jones and Wills. The first one here, we have Jones and Wills. They are mentioned in the sentence. And this is what we call, when you use the authors or mention the authors in the sentence, this is what we call an author focus citation. You're focusing on the authors. What exactly? What are the authors? Or who are the authors? Or this message, where is it coming from? So this is what we call the author focus citation. In the second one, we have Jones and Wills in the bracket. So we can see the idea comes before the people that presented the idea, which means we're focusing on the idea. The most important thing is the idea. And the idea comes before the authors. So this is what we call an idea focus citation. An idea focus citation. Idea focus citation, okay? Now, they are not appended to direct quoting or paraphrase. I just put them there randomly, as you can see. But you can do an author focus citation or an idea focus citation as you see fit. Your author focus ones focus, as you can probably work out on the author here. Okay? The idea puts the focus onto the idea, as you can see. So idea focus puts the idea, focuses on the idea, as you can see, just like I mentioned, because your work is around brackets. Yeah. And the brackets which include the author. So you're working around them, yes, but the most important thing here is the idea. All right? So like I said, this is significant, and you move to say what that means to you. Now, we'll move on to APA reference listing. So what is a reference list? A reference list is the post text element, okay? The after text element, which contains the title of all the references cited in your text, okay? Which is different from a bibliography. Now, most academic works at this level require a reference list. So anything cited in the text needs to be in the reference list. It is at the end of the assignment. This is so much necessary. When a reference list is at the end of the assignment, as you probably must know, and it usually is on a separate page. A reference list needs, in APA, the reference list needs to have its own page. And the list, the references are in an alphabetical order by authorship. So as you know, the alphabets as they are from A to Z. So if the author's name begins with an A, that means that the author or that reference comes first before the others. All right? Okay? Now, the list entries are differentiated by source type. Okay? So a journal article looks different to a book, and a book looks different to a website. Okay? They're just listed alphabetically. You don't need to divide them up by websites and journal articles or books. They just go in a list alphabetically. Here are a couple of examples. As you can see, early childhood and all that. And notice that some things are in italics, like this one here, are in italics, and there is particular order to these. And this reference listing, unlike paraphrasing, reference listing is a technical skill. It's a black and white skill which you just need to get right and is expected of you. There are so many sources or university websites which deals with APA referencing. You can check them out. I'll try in the next video whereby I'll be talking on part 2 of APA referencing. I'll try get the links and put them in the description. Otherwise, please subscribe to my channel so that we'll be able to put more of these educational content. Thank you.